Even those who take good care of their aquarium can encounter problems that arise without warning. Sometimes the water seems clear, but the fish start acting strangely. Other times, everything suddenly turns green, or a seemingly healthy fish suddenly appears lifeless at the bottom. None of this happens by chance. Problems like cloudy water, excess algae, stressed fish, or disease are not uncommon, and more often than not, they begin silently. By the time you notice, the imbalance is already set in. But understanding the right signs and acting quickly can save your aquarium, your routine, and your fish. In this video, we'll get straight to the point. You'll learn the 6 most common problems in freshwater aquariums, why they occur, and how to solve each one clearly and effectively. No complications, no magic formulas, just what really works based on the experience of those who've been there. If you want to keep your fish healthy, your aquarium beautiful, and avoid unexpected losses, this content is for you. Let's get started.
1. Cloudy water, when the aquarium appears dirty, even with proper maintenance. Few things are more discouraging than seeing aquarium water become cloudy immediately after cleaning. That whitish or milky appearance usually indicates a biological imbalance, and it's more common than you might think, especially in new or poorly cycled aquariums. The main cause of this type of turbidity is the proliferation of heterotrophic bacteria, which feed on decomposing organic matter. They appear when there's excess food, accumulated feces, poorly sanitized substrate, or when the filter can't handle the volume of waste. In newly set up aquariums, this phenomenon is almost inevitable in the first few weeks. It's part of the ecosystem stabilization process. The good news is that in most cases, cloudy water doesn't pose an immediate risk to the fish. The system is simply trying to balance itself. Avoid performing large water changes at this stage, as this further delays the formation of beneficial bacteria. Small changes, 10 to 20% per week, are sufficient. Check the amount of food offered, make sure the filter is appropriate for the size of the aquarium, and be patient. A healthy aquarium takes time, and stability is always more important than haste.
2. Algae growth, when glass, rocks, and plants turn too green. A little algae in the aquarium is normal, but when it covers everything, glass, decor, and even the fish, something is out of control. Algae take advantage of excess light and nutrients in the water, such as nitrate and phosphate, to multiply rapidly. If the aquarium is exposed to direct sunlight or has artificial lighting on for long periods of time, this already promotes uncontrolled growth. Another common factor is overfeeding the fish, which leads to a buildup of organic matter, increasing nitrate levels. A weak or poorly maintained filter also worsens the situation. Combating algae starts by reducing light. Keep the aquarium lights on for a maximum of 8 hours per day. Also check the water parameters. Nitrates should be below 20 ppm, and the ideal temperature ranges from 74 degrees Fahrenheit to 78 degrees Fahrenheit for most tropical fish. Partial water changes, about 20% per week, are very helpful. Additionally, it's worth investing in algae eaters, such as Otocinclus or the dwarf pleco. They help with natural control, but they're no substitute for proper maintenance. The key is balance. With routine and attention, algae can stop being a constant problem.
3. Stressed fish, when behavior changes without explanation. The problem isn't always visible in the water. Sometimes the warning comes from the fish's behavior. Swimming restlessly, hiding constantly, becoming listless, or even fighting among themselves. These are classic signs of stress, and ignoring them can lead to illness and even death. Stress can have several causes. The most common is species incompatibility. For example, placing a territorial fish with more peaceful ones. It's also common to see fish suffering from a lack of hiding places, sudden water movements, or unstable parameters, such as temperature and pH fluctuations. Remember,
Fluctuations of more than 2 degrees Fahrenheit per day can affect tropical fish, which prefer a stable temperature between 76 degrees Fahrenheit and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Another important factor is the size of the aquarium. An aquarium that's too small leads to fighting and rapid waste buildup. For each fish, consider at least 1 liter of water per centimeter of body, and that's the minimum. The solution lies in carefully observing behavior, testing the water regularly, and adapting the environment to the fish's specific needs. A calm fish swims fluidly, interacts with its surroundings, and displays vibrant colors. Anything different from this warrants investigation.
4. Common illnesses when spots, wounds, or unusual swimming patterns appear. Seeing a fish with white spots, swimming sideways, or with wounds on its body is a clear sign that something is wrong, and acting quickly can save the entire aquarium. The most common diseases in home aquariums are ick, or white spot disease, fungus, fin rot, and internal parasites. These diseases usually appear when fish have weakened immune systems, and the main reason for this is stress or poor water quality. Introducing new fish improperly, without quarantine, is also one of the most common causes of disease outbreaks in the aquarium. The first step when noticing any unusual signs is to isolate the affected fish if possible. Then test the water parameters. Ammonia and nitrite should always be at 0 ppm, and the pH and temperature should remain stable, between 76 degrees Fahrenheit and 80 degrees Fahrenheit for most tropical fish. Sudden rises and falls are harmful. There are specific medications for each type of disease, and many aquarists keep an emergency kit at home. But prevention is more important than treatment. A routine of care, daily observation, and quarantine for new fish drastically reduces the risk of contamination.
5. Excess ammonia, the invisible enemy that kills silently. Ammonia is one of the most toxic compounds that can accumulate in an aquarium. Invisible and odorless, it arises from the decomposition of food scraps, fish feces, and organic matter in general. Even in small amounts, it can cause burns to the gills, make breathing difficult, and lead to death within hours. Many aquarists discover this problem too late. The most common symptoms are fish gasping at the surface, pale coloration, listlessness, and erratic swimming. In more severe cases, fish can simply die suddenly, without any apparent signs. Prevention begins with the famous nitrogen cycle. In a well-cycled aquarium, beneficial bacteria transform ammonia into nitrite and then into nitrate, which is less toxic. To achieve this, it is essential to have an efficient biological filter and adequate maturation time before adding fish. If ammonia is detected, any level above 0 ppm is dangerous. The first step is to perform a 30% to 50% partial water change without completely cleaning the filter. This preserves the beneficial bacteria. It's also worth temporarily reducing the amount of food and testing the water frequently. Ideal temperature in this case between 76 degrees Fahrenheit and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, maintaining stability to help the biological system recover.
6. Lack of oxygenation when fish appear to gasp even in clean water. If fish constantly remain at the surface, breathing rapidly, even when the water is clean and there are no signs of illness, the problem may be oxygenation. Aquarium water needs dissolved oxygen for fish to breathe, and this depends on several factors beyond the simple presence of a filter. High temperatures, for example, reduce the amount of oxygen available in the water. On hot days, an 82-degree Fahrenheit aquarium can have almost half the oxygen of a 75-degree Fahrenheit aquarium. This means that even if everything appears normal, the fish may be slowly suffocating. Another factor is surface movement. Aquariums with no surface movement have less gas exchange with the environment, and overcrowded aquariums, even with a filter, may have insufficient oxygen for all inhabitants. To resolve this, increase surface movement with a properly positioned filter outlet or an air pump, airstone. Natural plants also help as they release oxygen during the day, but be careful, at night they also consume oxygen. Ideally, keep the temperature between 74 degrees Fahrenheit and 78 degrees Fahrenheit and ensure good circulation. Well-oxygenated fish swim energetically and explore the aquarium more calmly.
Many aquarium problems don't appear suddenly. They arise gradually, silently, until they become too obvious to ignore. Cloudy water, algae everywhere, fish with strange behavior or spots on their bodies, these are all signs that something in the environment is out of balance. The good news is that most of the time, these problems have simple solutions, as long as you identify them early. More important than applying corrections is understanding what's causing the imbalance. When you know the ideal parameters and monitor them frequently, the risk of unpleasant surprises is greatly reduced. Regular testing of ammonia, nitrite, pH, and temperature in F centigrade, always within the ideal range for the fish you keep, should be part of your routine. Maintaining a healthy aquarium doesn't depend on luck, it depends on consistency. And over time, these care practices become second nature, part of the pleasure of having a vibrant, balanced aquarium. Now tell me, which of these problems have you faced, and how did you solve them? If the video helped you, subscribe to the channel for more practical and well-explained tips. See you next time.